What's up, everybody, and good evening. It is your boys, your men that you love to love. We are here tonight. Welcome to Tuesday, August 16th, to Positions on Sports Talk Show, post live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positions on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans from the perspective of yours truly, fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. That would be us, fellas. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. My name is Professor J, and I'm joined tonight by my partners in crime. Say what's up, J3.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Let's get
What's
it
going
in.
on,
Good.
brother?
Let's
Good to
go.
see
What
you.
up, Jay? Yes,
And
Yes,
we
sir.
got my man, my bro, cuz Sense in the house.
What it do, fellas? What's going on? Good to see y'all, man. Y'all ready to talk some sports?
Yes,
Yay,
sir.
yay.
We always ready. Shout out to Big Reg. Big Reg, get well. We are praying for you, man. Come back in full strength and ready to go. And
Amen.
definitely Jay Wills. He might be joining us later, but of course, he's handling fatherly duties, and we wish him well. But if he pops in, we know he gonna bring that fire. And Big Ed is traveling down south. Big Ed, we praying for you as well and your baby girl. We love you guys and hope to see you again real soon.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
So we are with
Yes,
you
yes.
tonight, and we are coming with our quick hits, of course. We're going to dive into the NFL. We're going to cover two divisions tonight. We're going to do the AFC and NFC East. So get ready, y'all, because we got some fire for y'all. And then, of course, we're going to dive in. Got a little preview for you set up in the post takes. And then we're going to do our final post of the evening. So, of course, we appreciate you all for tuning in. Please like and share. Do it now, actually. Don't wait to the end, because you can actually share now and get more people on so they can see this fire that we about to bring. So sit back, relax, and enjoy posts on Positions on Sports Show channel. All right, fellas, so let's dive into the quick hits. I got several of them. I'm going to end this on a painful note for me, but we're going to start out with some positive news. Of course, positive news. Of course, we got one Miss Brittany Griner. That saga does continue, but there is some good news that is coming out. We're hearing that there are private talks about a prisoner exchange between Russia and ourselves, and it's looking like we might get some diplomacy very soon. So we are definitely, we've given our opinions for several weeks concerning this case, but I think we're all in agreement that she got railroaded. What y'all got to say?
Oh, yeah. I second that emotion for sure. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
so
I'm just glad. Yeah. Go ahead, J3.
I was getting ready to say, if this isn't a classic case of diplomacy as well as political pawns, I don't know what is. Because all this time, she's been crying out. Her people been crying out for support from the diplomats and from the U.S. Nothing. And now all of a sudden, now that she's getting sentenced, they're going to step in. Why didn't they step in
Yeah.
beforehand? Because the case was frivolous from the jump.
Of course.
Right,
Of
right,
course.
right.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a political game, like you say. I mean, Russia knew what their aim was with this whole thing from Jump Street. So, it's no surprise to me. They had to. I'm upset it had to take this long for the U.S. to, really start to do something. But I mean, ultimately, I'm just glad they're making strides to bring her home.
Yeah, and you know how I felt from the beginning. If she was a player of a different race, I think diplomacy and something would have been done a long time ago, to allow this to take place and understanding that it was a show, it was a farce. It's more like you're using one of our players, one of our Americans as a pawn in this particular game. But it just seems like the response was really slow, and the response, I mean, it took the president weeks before he even reached out to her family, to her wife, to even say anything to the magnitude that we're going to help and try to move this thing along. I mean, she's been in there for over 6 months, right? And now her mental state is at stake, and we really need to move these channels as quickly as we can to get her home. And I know
Absolutely.
we got to let some bad people go in order to get our good sister home. But it's been done many times. Sometimes we hear about it, sometimes we don't. But in this case, we need to do whatever it takes to bring her home. It's just vitally important.
Now, the real question is going to be, when they do bring her home, do you think she's going to go back and play basketball for them?
Nah, that's done. I think that door is closed. Even if they held her for a week, I think because of that treatment, because of what happened to her, and they really didn't want to hear her. Think about it. It took her to the end of her trial for them really to hear her side and her being able to say, hey, it was a mistake. I packed too quickly. It took all of this time for us to really hear her side of the story. Now, I agree with Ed and some of you that she's been playing over there for a number of years. So she had to know the laws. So if you're doing things in this country that's okay and it's legal, I mean, before you hop on a plane to go anywhere, you need to check your bags and make sure you're not taking something over there that you shouldn't be taking. So ultimately, I feel it's still her responsibility.
And with that being said, let me ask you this. So they bring her back home, WNBA is done, and they offer her to go back, and she does. What are your thoughts about that then?
Ooh, go ahead, Sense. I got to digest that question for a second.
Yeah, me too. I'll just say this. Ultimately, like, she still has to, I think she still wants to, make money to support her family. So I don't see playing back in the WNBA as being far-fetched. I see that actually happen now. As far as Olympics go, yeah, like you said, that shit.
No, I think he mean going back to Russia.
Right. I'm not talking about WNBA.
Oh, my bad. No.
You already know.
No. Yeah, nah.
She's definitely gonna go back in the WNBA. But my question is, going back to play for Russia, Russian team.
Yeah, I don't.
Ain't no money that they can. I don't even think Russia would want her to play for that team. And like with all that's been going, that has gone down, I don't think Russia would want her to come back.
Yeah, I'm not one to question anybody's intelligence, but after you've been put through all of that, to me, they need to flip the script and do a Megan Rapinoe and kind of start lobbying for higher pay for WNBA players. I mean. I don't want to hear that the support isn't there, because you have a whole show of gentlemen that will go there. I know organizations who take kids there. They can fill those stands. You can get sponsorships. They're already on television, so increase the television money. There are things that can be done to raise their pay so that our stars in this league doesn't have to go overseas to play. Now, if you choose to do it for the love of the game, you don't want to take time off, similar to what the NBA players do, or you can't make it into the WNBA and you want to play for other countries and other leagues, then my hat's off to you. I will say be careful. But going through something like this, I certainly don't think her wife is going to even allow something like that to happen, even if she did consider it. So I think that door is going to be completely shut on a Russian.
Yeah, maybe playing for another country. Yeah, I can see that. Stay tuned now. Yeah.
Stay tuned, because we all know she went there to earn money. And so if that's still the case and she goes back, then what are you going to say? Yeah. Was it all for nothing?
Here's what I would say, J3, the NBA, which is one of the most progressive leagues in all of the world, they need to stand up and start giving more of a voice for the WNBA, and even allowing some of these owners that make billions of dollars, just like we've seen with a couple of clubs that will help the women charter jets and stuff like that, start putting it into pay. That's one thing I can say great about Kyrie Irving. During the time when the pandemic first hit and in the bubble, he put up his very own money to support, the WNBA in their play. So I think if more teams and more players stepped up and start saying, hey, they deserve more pay. And I do believe that there's some players who would give up a portion of their contracts in order for the pay to be raised in the WNBA. So
because we do know some players that do support the WNBA. Yeah. So I could definitely see that happening. The question is it going to happen?
Yeah, I think it should. I think
starts
Brittany
with one.
Griner needs to be one of the activists that comes back and says, see, this could happen to somebody else in another country. It's not just Russia. I mean, we got enemies in many different countries, but for them to use our players as political pawns, that I think they need to beware of that, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think it definitely raised the red flag. So
Yeah,
stay tuned.
absolutely. Stay tuned. All right, so let's switch over to the PGA. So we got one Eldrick Tiger Woods, who is now lending his very loud voice, I might add, to address the PGA and the things that are going on with the Live Tour. And we have a ton of opinions out there. But is Tiger, I got to ask you guys, is Tiger doing the right thing on this hot mic now, really putting his voice and presence behind this feud going on between the two golf leagues?
Let's just say that. Let me just say this, right? Tiger has gone through a lot, and he's had his ups and downs, and I think he's finally seen who his true fans are and who are foes of his caliber, right? And so now he's just at a point where he don't have to prove anything. He don't have to earn anything. So he's just speaking freely. And I appreciate the fact that he's being real with the comments that he's making. He ain't sugarcoating nothing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I echo those sentiments. I think he's accomplished all he needed to. It's like, okay, well, I mean, what can you do to me? You stop me from playing, or I'm gonna speak out about what's not right, and I applaud him for it.
Yeah, this goes into the fact that whether Tiger is in another league or not, who is still the face of golf? Thank you.
Tiger Woods.
Thank you. See, that's the point here, which is why I think the PGA finally persuaded Tiger to lend a much louder voice to this, because he is still the biggest cat or the biggest tiger in sports. This is why that tour tried to pull Tiger over initially, because they knew that if they pulled him over, it was game over.
All bets were off.
Yes, it was game over. So now that he is with he's still with the PGA, of course. I think he also knows that being the biggest face and biggest voice in the sport. Remember, I told you guys maybe a couple of months ago that Tiger can now take a political stance, because he can now start moving into as more like a big wig or policy maker in the PGA behind the scenes now, instead of now that we know that his championship career has winded down. By no stretch of the imagination do I see him riding off into the sunset, throwing up the peace sign and not doing anything else with professional golf. I think he has a large stake in the PGA, and definitely battling against the LIV is well within his interest.
Yeah, I think the PGA will ultimately push him up to like a position where he'll have a more greater say and a greater pull to kind of keep PGA at the top.
And he is a billionaire. I mean, money still talks, right? He's a billionaire. So they would do well to keep Tiger happy. And I think that's a part of a lot of this as well. So I think Tiger is very smart and strategic here in lending his voice. Plus, he can serve notice that whatever goes on between both leagues, that he is firmly planted his flag in the PGA, and that he'll support that tour, till the day he dies. So that goes to say that all this litigation that's going on, all this press, I think it's going to finally come to a head very soon. And I like the position that Tiger is taking.
Absolutely.
Do you think the PGA looks clean in this, though?
They don't.
I think the PGA is just trying to save face, man. And now that they have controversy or competition, they're trying to remain the dominant of the sport, and it ain't like that anymore. So now they really have to do some work to maintain that stature that they've had previously.
Right.
And why would players want to go to live in the first place if PGA was on their P's and Q's doing what they were supposed to?
Yeah, because at some point, I know they got a lot of money, but I mean, how much money do you want to actually start or continue to throw around. You got some of the best that came over to your league. And now I think next step, they probably need to secure some TV rights, which will be coming because we live in a capitalist society. I know the political side of it, how women are treated, people are treated in general in Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries. And, you know, we know about what happened to Khashoggi and all that kind of stuff. But I think, again, money talks. And that's
All
the
day.
whole reason why we're in this position in the first place, because the creators of this tour knew exactly what they were doing and what they would accomplish by going up against the PGA and pulling some of its best players.
For sure.
Well,
For sure.
we all know the competition just drives up the camaraderie as well as the competition and the media and the funding. So this is nothing but a ploy to increase the funding that they can actually earn.
Yeah. And y'all know I mentioned, y'all know I mentioned this. To me looked like the WCW versus the WWE. You know, you got two factions that really hate and want to go after one another. The money is there, but I think the person that makes the misstep is going to get swallowed up by the other league. So it remains to be seen. Remains to be seen.
And just keep in mind that regardless of what side of the fence you end up on as a player, you're still going to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe just a little more than the other one.
Right.
And that's the lore of the LIV. Excellent. All right, so shifting over to college football. So we had the AP poll come out, and many people think this poll is very lackluster. I mean, some people would even consider it a joke, but they are making some news. So in the sports universe, many are commenting about my Notre Dame Fighting Irish coming in at number 5 in the AP poll. And on the 4-letter network, we have a guy, and I'm not going to say his name, maybe Sense will, but he came out and said that number 5 for Notre Dame in this ranking was a joke. So what I would say to this gentleman is that it remains to be seen what type of team Notre Dame actually is going to be. They have a brand new rookie head coach, one that is a stout defensive coach. And now he's taking over the whole operations. The players love him. And if you know anything about college football, Mr. whatever your name is, I'm not going to say it. When people want to run through a wall for a coach, the talent usually gets elevated. And then you get upsets by teams that you think are going to trounce Notre Dame. And all of a sudden, there is a change of story. And we'll know right up front, right? They got Ohio State. So we'll know what type of season they'll have right out the gate. So what you guys got to say about that? I mean, this dude just really got on my nerves today.
Well, I think sometimes he talks just to hear himself talk. I don't argue with the ranking. Well, I don't take issue with the ranking of Notre Dame at number 5. Me personally, I think maybe number 6. I actually think Michigan should have been ranked higher than the number 8. They exceeded a lot of people's expectations. They finally beat Ohio State. They got to the college football playoff. I think that should have put them at the top 6. Happy to see Miami get up in there. But yeah, like it's debatable about Notre Dame, but I wouldn't be upset. I'm not upset that they're in the top 5.
J3?
I don't really have no comments because, in my opinion, football players or teams, you know, we all have our opinion of who's going to do well before the season starts. So for that individual to say something about Notre Dame, again, that's just who he is. And you just have to take that with a grain of salt. So let's just see where the stats end at the end of the year and then talk about it.
Right. Yeah, some people just live to hate the Fighting Irish.
And hold up. And I'm kind of baffled to see Alabama ranked ahead of Georgia, because didn't Georgia beat Alabama?
Well, it's what they lost in the draft. So they basically make the preseason rankings based off of the class that they have coming in, what they're projected to have at quarterback, and what their schedule looks like. So because of that, that's why you see a drop with Georgia, because they put a ton of talent from that defense into the NFL this year. They retooled, but Alabama retooled as well. And then their quarterback stayed in place. He's expected to be a Heisman Trophy winner again. And now you see what's happening and transpiring with that. But Ohio State edged out Alabama in this poll, which I thought was interesting. So that's debatable as well going in. And then many people don't know what Clemson really has this year. So Clemson is at number 4 in this poll. Do they really have what it takes to come back from that terrible year by their standards that they had last year, or is that more of the same?
I think it's more of the same because once
they lost Venables
and at
Venables,
so I don't see them going any further.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't see them. College football, we'll have our preview for you guys next week. So get ready and stay tuned for that because it's almost showtime with college football. All right, we got Kevin Durant. All right, his Twitter fingers are going once again, fellas. Getting into it with fans and, showing his feelings and all that kind of stuff. The bottom line is that the Nets are playing chess, not checkers with Kevin Durant. He made his demands known, and Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, has put his foot down and pretty much said, I like my GM, I like my coach, I like the way my team is constituted as it is right now. We got Kyrie under contract for next year. You won out. I'm not giving you out. And I told y'all when this started that KD is going to play this year. He's not going to hold out. He's going to pout and go back up in there, and he's going to play because he's not going to want to mess with his money. What y'all guys think about this going on?
I don't think it's that easy, man. Like a lot of people saying, well, Kevin Durant loves basketball too much to want to sit out and da-da-da-da-da. If Kevin Durant, we've seen him pout on online on Twitter. Mm-hmm. We've seen him kind of be a brat. I could see him being a brat on this too. All right, well, I ain't gonna play then. To kind of drive home, stand on his mountain and fall on his sword, so to speak. Joe Tsai's gonna stand pat. I just don't agree with. I mean, you can try to flex your muscle and say, oh well, you gonna play this year. I ain't trading you. Well, Kevin Durant's well, okay, I cannot play. I don't have to play. So this advisement by some analysts for Joe Tsai to flex his muscle and say you ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I don't see that playing out well.
I feel sorry for KD because he's a phenomenal player, but he hasn't taken any team all the way to the playoffs and won. He's always been on somebody else's team to win that chip. He has no demands because again, you went to Brooklyn to try to prove that you could take a team to the playoffs and win, and it ain't happened. So right about now, he's gonna have to sit up there again and prove himself, and either wait till his contract ends, or I don't see him sitting it out because you're right. He's a baller. He likes to play basketball. So I think he's just stuck.
Yeah, I think he's stuck.
Or Joe Tsai can make a move and go on and trade him just to get that headache off his hands.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a headache for Joe Tsai more than it's a headache. KD's a headache to himself because long money don't care nothing about short money. Right. And this dude is rich. He Jeff Bezos rich. So it's if you want to play hardball, I mean, you can sit or you can play. I'm going to field this team the way that it is, and we'll generate more pieces as we go along. I think KD would be smart to just go ahead, eat his crow that he got to eat, go back in there. Kyrie, to me, is going to play more than he won't this year. Ben Simmons, he appears to be healthy. You got to see what you have with him, and then you can form, around that nucleus. I mean, they won't be a bad team if he plays. They'll be probably around that 4th or 5th area throughout the whole season, even when Kyrie decides he doesn't want to play for whatever reason. And then come playoff time, you can't say they're not a dangerous team. So
no, you can't. I just don't see. Everyone's, and as they should be, I'm just so concerned about this. Oh man, they're gonna be. Put them 3 together. They're gonna be unbeatable. Da 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 da. It's yeah, they are. I mean, that goes without saying. But when you're in a toxic situation like that, you've already called for the coach and the GM to be fired, and you're gonna go back and play for that said coach and GM. I just don't.
Well,
I
the
don't see
coach
it
was
like
lame duck anyway. I mean, Kyrie did prove that when he said we don't need a coach, so he just there anyway. So walking back in the building and seeing Steve Nash, I mean, ain't a big deal. I mean, I don't know what his relationship was before with the general manager, but he crushed that too. So, I mean, basically, players play, so they need to go on the floor and play together. All right, fellas, we've been long in the tooth on this. I'm gonna just hit these next ones in rapid fire. So we got the Greek Freak to Chicago. So Giannis in Chicago on business had a mic in front of his face, and they asked him about the possibility of him ever playing in Chicago. And Giannis was polite and he was smart. He started out by talking about the great city of Chicago, its 6 championships. The greatest player to play the game is looming large there, and it would be a wonderful franchise to play for someday. But he ended his statement saying definitively he is a Milwaukee Buck. So what I want people to understand is, what was he supposed to say?
Right.
Most players today do not end their careers with the same team that they started for. But he's also smart enough to not close a door to a franchise that is overdue for a championship. Chicago will actually pay their superstar to come in. They learned their lesson from that Bulls team when they wouldn't pay anybody, and then it got broken up. I mean, we'll never know what could have been if Carmelo had actually went to Chicago and played with Derrick Rose and Luol Deng and some of them other boys and Joakim Noah. I mean, but he took the money and he went to New York. That could have been a championship team right there. Maybe Derrick Rose doesn't get hurt if he had a little bit more help than Carmelo, but that's history. So Chicago always does try to compete for championships more than what I could say in this city. So why would he close the door on that? So quickly, fellas, do you think he was right or wrong in his comments about that?
He played it as well as anyone could. Like he was very politically correct in his statement. So I take no issue with it at all.
Yeah, he did right. He did right. Like you said, he didn't close the door. He didn't bash either team. He just said, we'll see what happens. Excellent. Smart man.
Excellent. Shout out to his PR person.
That's right. That's right.
They definitely prepped him.
That's right. All right. So lastly, in this area, we got the Bronx Bombers. They killing me right now. They done lost 10 out of 12 games. In the last 32 games, they are 11-21, but they got a ton of injuries. People will get healthy and they'll turn it around. And I got to give a shout out to the Bama of the week, one of my favorite players, but he is a straight up Bama for PEDs, and that's Fernando Tatis Jr. So let's move on.
Man?
Let's move on. I don't even want to harbor. All right, so let's get to our NFL talk. That's going to carry us the rest of the way, and I am certainly excited about getting started. So we're going to start tonight, fellas, with the AFC East. So we got the New York Jets up first. So you know that Zach Wilson had successful knee surgery today, and they're still keeping the same timeline of 2 to 4 weeks. But who are they kidding? It will take much longer than that, maybe double that timeline. And guess what, fellas? Joe Flacco rearing his ugly head yet again. He is set to start
Flacco.
Week 1. So the Jets were 4-13 last season. What you fellas think about their prospects this year at improving on that record, or will it be less or more of the same?
I think it'll be more, but not by much. I could see them getting maybe like 7 wins, especially if Wilson comes. Yeah, if Wilson comes back healthy, they made some good moves in the draft, and also I don't know much of offseason moves they made, but I believe in this coach.
Offensive line. They brought in Laken Tomlinson and Dwayne Brown.
Yep, there you go. So, and also I like Saleh. I think Saleh is, is a coach that the players believe in. I don't see 5-12. I definitely see about 7 wins. I believe in Zach Wilson too.
Wow, you give him 7 games? I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I thought 5 was being. I thought 5 was being generous, to be honest with you. I mean, they're still a young team, and yeah, they did pick up some nice draft pieces, but are they going to be able to play together? That's to be determined. So, I think their record is
division. Look at
exactly,
the division.
Exactly.
The Dolphins probably made the best moves in the offseason to get better. And they were a problem last year, even with the ups and downs of Tua, right? So you got the Patriots, who are always going to be in the dogfight no matter what. You got the Bills, who are head of the class in that division. We'll talk about them in a second. And check this out. On their schedule, they also have the Ravens, Packers, and the Broncos this year.
They ain't ready for that smoke. They ain't ready for that smoke. No, sir.
I don't know, man. Maybe that. Hey, it's the teams that you count out that surprise you. So,
but it also starts with Wilson. Does he come back healthy? Because we know Joe Flacco can do a Trevor Siemian and give you probably 2 good games, and then that's it. The wheels are falling.
He's the X factor. But one question. I mean, and I put this in our chat a couple of days ago. Do the Jets make a move for Jimmy G?
That's a possibility.
It's possible. And there's another New York team who might be in the hunt for him too, and that's the Giants. And we'll get to them a little bit later. So he might be in New York either way. He might be.
They ain't getting rid of Jones. They ain't getting rid of Jones.
Man, well, if Jones, all right, we'll get to that team in a minute. Yeah.
All right. So let's move down to the Miami Dolphins. So the big question mark, guys, is Tua. What does Tua do now that he has some brand new shiny weapons that he can polish off now?
Well, he better ball because the pressure's on now. I mean, you got Tyreek singing his praises in spring training and camp, and man, that's a tall order. I just hope he don't shrink under the lights.
But think about it. Tua, he definitely doesn't run from the bright lights. But again, if his offensive line is not protecting him, how effective is he going to be? I mean, you're right. They picked up quite a few acquisitions on the offseason and the draft. So, I mean, is he going to be able to move the ball? Is he going to be able to score? And will the defense step up so that it can win games? Period.
Right. And we focus on their weapons, right? But they also bolstered the offensive line. They brought in Teron Armstead and they brought in Connor Williams. I think what might give Tua some motivation, he'll think back to his Alabama days. Who did he beat out? He beat out my man in Philly, right? Jalen Hurts. He has a very capable Teddy Bridgewater behind him now. So if he stumbles out the gate, I think Teddy could come in there and work those new toys that they got.
Yeah.
And Miami would be formidable in this division, at that point. So does he get motivated, or like you say, does he shrink because he got that pressure coming up behind him?
And all that also is contingent on this new coach's system. Keep in mind they have a rookie coach coming into the fold,
right?
And Mike McDaniel. So are they going to rally behind him, or are they going go and do their own thing? That remains to be seen.
The running game should be solid. It's not just about Waddle and Cheetah, because they got Sony Michel and they got Raheem Mostert. So they got two solid, bona fide, two-headed monster back there that can help him control the game as well. So as long as that offense is called the right way, I think Tua can actually shine this year. And
I do too.
Yeah, Miami could compete for the top spot in this division.
But those are just the X factors. That's the deciding factors. But I agree with you.
And they still got to get through Buffalo.
Yep, still got to get through Buffalo. All right, so before we jump to Buffalo, let's talk about the New England Patriots. So is Mac Jones legit? Is he just a game manager, or can he actually lead a team in hopes of a championship?
I think that he's someone that can be well groomed into what Belichick wants. Like the same way he did Brady, kind of molded him and shaped him as he progressed in his years. Mac Jones is a solid QB, and given the right pieces around him, which New England always seems to make good on, I could see them being like another even better than a dark horse. I could see them being in that fight, like you said, to when they're a tough out. I'll say that.
I think Mac Jones is a perfect quarterback for that team. You think about it, the New England Patriots, they don't look for glorified quarterbacks to run their offense. They look for efficient quarterbacks to move the ball down the field. And that's what Brady did. That's what Bledsoe did. So as long as Matt Jones stays within their offensive scheme, they're going to be competitive. And it's just the defense is going to have to step up.
Yeah. What makes me nervous, I agree with everything you guys said. What makes me nervous is that his coordinator from last year is now a head coach out in Las Vegas. And I think that's going to prove dividends. Now, people say that Belichick is a sneaky good offensive play caller, even though he's known for defense. But what is this mess around Patricia and who's the other guy? Dabo or somebody else that they're going to share the duties. I think that would be a huge mistake. What's up, Jay Wills? That would be a huge mistake because now you got a quarterback listening for 2 or 3 voices, and you need to have one voice that's consistently calling those plays. Now, one thing about Mac Jones, man, he's smart, man. You know, we know that he makes good decisions. He doesn't turn the ball over. And that's one of the big things you can ask about your quarterback. Just don't give the ball to the other team. Now, what I'm scared about is the Patriots don't have that bona fide solid line that they did in years past. I think they still need to do a little bit more to protect him like they did Brady. And I think this dude will shine in the pocket. I do think that because of the question marks around the offensive plays, and because they lost a good bona fide linebacker in Kyle Van Noy and J.C. Jackson at the corner. Now, I know they brought back Malcolm Butler, who was in Belichick's doghouse before. So hopefully they kissed and made up, and we'll see how that works. And I'm not sold on Ty Montgomery. They brought him in. Devontae Parker, he's decent. But they had decent receivers before. Nobody that you write home about, but guys that if you got them the ball, they could actually catch. So I'm not real over the moon about their weapons on this team either. And then White just retired to me, who was the best offensive threat on that team, because that Bama could catch and run. And he was always open. I don't know how he was always, but he was always open. And he just retired after 8 seasons. So I think they take a step back. I think they fall to 3rd in this division this year.
But see, the beauty of don't count them out. The beauty of New England is they make household names out of no names. Like people that you never heard of, like end up like becoming beasts. Like who heard of Malcolm Butler before the interception in the Super Bowl?
True.
Exactly. So I mean, I'd never count out or bet against Bill Belichick.
That's fair. All right, well, we shall see. They also have the Ravens, Packers, and Bengals on their schedule too, despite their already rigorous division schedule as well. So if they start out the gate slow, I see them coming in 3rd place in the division because I think both Buffalo and Miami going to hit the ground hot. And if they get any type of lead, I think your boys, the Patriots, will come in 3rd. All right, so let's get to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I don't think anybody will argue that they are Super Bowl contenders and that they will win this division at least by 2 or 3 games. And you know I got to talk about my man Josh Allen because that's my quarterback. He is that dude. He is coming back. I know he got a new offensive coordinator, but I think he has enough of this offense and moxie under his belt to be able to call plays, the audible, to do everything that he needs to do to run this offense. I think it was a down year for his running backs last year because they dealt with injuries, and he still was slinging it with Stephon Diggs.
He carried that squad.
Right. So I think he'll still be up to that level. They were 11-6 last year. They were 13 seconds away from, a Mahomes and Cheetah miracle to go into the AFC Championship. So I look for them to be, just scrapping again this year, which I got to say.
Buffalo got a chip. They got a chip on their shoulder. They lost that last game with 12 seconds left because they kicked the ball in the damn end zone. Had they kicked it in play, knowing that the Chiefs did not have no timeouts, you helped them when you kicked it in the infield. So, out of the field. So I'm telling you, they got a chip on their shoulder and they trying to get back because they should have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, more need to be said on that. Like they showed that they belong in that league. they are a force to be reckoned with. I don't see them like going anywhere as far as going down. I see them staying right where they were, which is at the top of the AFC East. And I mean, Josh Allen's a bad boy. Stephon Diggs, the best complimentary piece you could have ever given him. They got some other receivers, and they got a fan base behind them that is just like that's going to give them that energy that they need. So yeah, let's go Buffalo.
And they got a bona fide tight end now who didn't get good run in OJ Howard. I think in this offense, he is going to eat because when everybody paying attention to Diggs and all of that stuff, he's going to be able to run them underneath routes and he's going to be able to get open. And he's a big body, and I think he can make some people miss and punish him trying to tackle him. And then sneakily, they brought in James Cook to bolster that backfield. So I think that's going to help them out a lot. So they improved on offense, fellas, and they improved on defense. They brought in Von
Miller.
All he got to do is be a third down specialist and come after that quarterback. I mean, that's all he needs to do. I mean,
you talk about somebody already eating.
Stout, right?
Yeah. You talk about somebody eating. Von going.
Yeah, so they got the Rams, Chiefs, and Bengals on their schedule as well. So that should be a nice division. But Miami is going to surprise us. I really think Tua comes out of his shell and he's able to start proving to people that they were initially wrong about him. I just think he had to get them injuries out of the way, and now we're going to start to see the Alabama boys soar. I really do.
Don't sleep on the Jets. Jets.
All right, we're going to see.
Okay.
All right, fellas. Let's go ahead over to probably our favorite division, the NFC East. Whether we got wives or we got our own teams in this division, this is certainly one that we got to talk about. Hope I don't.
Some would call the NFC least.
Right. Hope I don't make my wife mad, but let's go ahead and kick it. So let's start with the New York Giants.
Who?
Right? The Giants,
right.
4 and
the midgets,
the little people.
From last year, right? The little people. So Daniel Jones is probably in the worst situation out of any quarterback in the NFL. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. There's not much confidence in him. They purposefully did not re-sign him. He's being backed up by Tyrod Taylor, who Tyrod Taylor is very serviceable. He can come in and be a starter, right? He can come in and be a starter and get a good team into the playoffs. We've seen him do that.
Absolutely.
So, and he's actually starting and taking most of the reps for this preseason. So that's not a lot of confidence in one Daniel Jones. So what do you guys think about his future as a Giant and this team overall this year?
This is sink or swim for Daniel Jones. Like, see, the thing about him is he'll show flashes of like brilliance where like he'll take off for a long run. Like he got some wheels on him. Them wheels sometimes ain't good because he tripped. And then that trip cost him that touchdown. But I mean, I don't, as much as I hate to say it, I don't see this year faring well for him. I think Saquon is going to carry this team. They did make some good additions in the draft with Thibodeau, Neal, and Anderson. Like that offense, and they still got Kadarius Toney. Like they got some speedy receivers and Sterling Shepard. So all they gotta do is let Saquon carry him, do enough to not mess up a la Kirk Cousins, and manage the game well. I hate to say it, but the Giants,
I didn't like what you just said about Captain Kirk, but we'll deal with that later.
So let me say this real quick. I'm sorry. Let me say this real quick. I think Daniel Jones is going to end up being just like my man up in Cleveland. I mean
Daniel Jones. That's you just made the point right there.
My bad. But no, I think he's going to end up being just like Baker Mayfield. He's going to go to another team and try to shine because the Giants is definitely not where it's at. He's been there 3 years. He hasn't made an impact. So he's going to have to go somewhere else where they're going to have to build around him, give him the support because he is a NFL quarterback. I mean, he does have the talent and the skill set. Unfortunately, that offensive scheme
Line.
that they're playing
Yeah,
in the
that's
Giants just wasn't what he needed to be successful.
But we'll see what he does with a bolstered offensive line. Again, they drafted that offensive tackle Neal.
They had the best draft to me.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens with this line. If Daniel Jones has some protection, maybe sky's the limit.
That's so is Saquon healthy enough to carry that load?
Yeah, he's hungry. I think he's hungry. I think he got that energy. That's what I'm saying. The Giants is my sneaky winners of the NFC East. Sorry to say.
Hey.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen since
it might be the Giants.
If any team thinks that Saquon is going to carry the team, what do you think they're going to do?
Oh yeah, they'll
8 men in the box.
That's
exactly.
Right.
And he is not going to run over 8 people every down, every game. It ain't going to happen.
And
he ain't going to
last. And that's when the tight end Evan Ingram's going to come in there eat. That's when the receivers are going to eat. Yeah, that's when you catch it out the backfield. It's
You said they're going to eat. This Bama had 3 previous years. They ain't been eating all that time.
But he didn't have a line. He didn't have a line.
Exactly.
He didn't have a line though. But he has a line this year.
Let's see what happens.
And you mentioned Tony. I mean, they were kind of down on Tony last year. Matter of fact, they almost traded him during the offseason. So you really think they have confidence in him to be the type of player he was in college?
If Daniel Jones has protection, the receivers are going to be spectacular. That's what I'm fearing. That's what I'm fearing.
Spectacular.
That's what I'm fearing.
Would like to hear that, J3.
That's what I'm fearing. And I hate to say this because I hate the Giants, but yeah, I can see it happening. I ain't going front.
This is year 1 of a rebuild. I see them still at the bottom of the division. One, because they've drafted poorly, for several years. This draft looks a lot different. I will say that. You're getting a healthy Saquon back. I will say that. But Daniel Jones, to me, just always looks shell-shocked in this particular offense. And I mean, he had Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett is a good offensive coordinator. It's a shame that they chopped his head off, because I don't think he was the problem. Because if you look at what he did in Dallas, I mean, the man was worthy of being a head coach and an offensive coordinator. I don't think that was his fault. I think that was all in that crazy head coach. But anyway, all right.
So you think they should? Real quick, you think they should have got rid of Joe Judge?
Of course, he was out of his league. He was a fish out of water. He's not a head coach in this league. I hope he never gets a job again. Be a coach, a coordinator, something on a lower level, but that dude should not be a head coach, especially when we got bona fide African-American head coaches who can't get a real shot at being a head coach. No retread there, please.
Right on. All
right, Dak Prescott. Is he back? Do we have the Dak that everybody swears is on Lamar's level, is on Mahomes' level? Is that the Dak that we're going to get from Dallas this year?
Well, time will tell.
Time will tell.
Let's be honest with it. Time will tell.
I'm tired of having these same conversations. Oh, is Dak going to lead them to the Super Bowl? Oh, it's this team, the team, is this team, the team to beat? Oh, it's Zeke. You got Amari Cooper. You got all these weapons. You got a defense. It's
how about make it to the playoffs first? Right.
Right. We always hype Dallas up. We always hype Dallas up.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about society. The public always hypes the media. Yes, the media always hypes Dallas up to be this formidable team, and they always wet the bed.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is a lame duck coach. That's number one. If they don't do anything,
and Amari Cooper, you lost. You got James Washington from Pittsburgh, but he's injured. I mean, you got Zeke, but Zeke, them ties are starting to wear down.
Pollard is the one they need to be playing.
Zeke slimmed down.
Also relying on your defense, and good luck with that.
Yeah, Zeke slimmed down. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Zeke did slim down, and he looks a little bit more explosive, kind of like he did his rookie year. One, because I know his job is on the line, and two, I think he really wants to contribute to something special for this team this year. So I think their backfield is pretty solid. Dak can manage a game. Dak can use his feet. Dak makes right decisions. The problem that I have is I think Kellen Moore is overrated, man. People, oh, he's the next new head coach. But I looked at some of his play calling, man. Little less to be desired. Now, I will say this. I probably would like him over the guy we have in Washington, North Turner's son. But I think that he's a little bit overrated. Mike McCarthy can't manage a game to save his life, and he just makes boneheaded decisions. I think their defense with Micah Parsons, whom I'm saying right now, and it pains me to say it, he will be the defensive player of the year. I think that defense will anchor them and will win some games for Dallas and put them in contention for the division this year. Not saying they're going to win it, but I think they were 12-5 last year. You got a motivated Zeke coming back. You got Amari Cooper, who to me was a cancer out of their locker room. They already got some young receivers that can step up and take his place. And I just see Dallas coming in second in this division with a fight for first. I hate to say it. I hate to say that. But I think that their deficiencies come from the head coaching ranks, what will cost them the actual division.
I'm just tired of talking. Like how Kendrick Perkins was tired of talking about the Lakers. I'm tired of talking about Dallas. It's like not we, but the media keep talking about Dallas. Oh, is this their year to win the Super Bowl? And it's like they always just fall flat. So I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, they'll have a repeat performance again, even if they do make the playoffs as a second team from a division. They'll fall flat like they always do. So sorry, Dallas fans. All right, so let's talk about those Eagles. All right.
No,
all right, we got a motivated Jalen Hurts, and he is looking good this preseason. He's heard all the chatter about him that was out there. You know, he's looking to prove people wrong. He's got his own shiny new weapons in that offense. He's got a coach that thoroughly believes in him. And I think the only Achilles heel for the Eagles, I'm not real sold on their defense. Their defense to me is what's going to cost them some games. I think that Jalen will continue to progress and be better than he was last year. So year to year, he's getting better. What do you guys see overall with the Eagles and the talent they have on this team?
They can be scary. They can definitely be scary offensively. I mean, you just mentioned the addition of A.J. Brown. They also picked up a new back, too. The running game was always solid. Jalen Hurts, got something to prove. Devontae Smith, I ain't even touch him. And dude is a beast himself. So, but the thing is, and you made a good point about their defense. Like, are they going to have to overcompensate for that bad defense with too much offense? To try to outscore. They're giving the Eagles the crown in the NFC East already. I'm just not so sold.
I think the Eagles are definitely going to win the East because the other squads are just not at their level, offense or defense. And they know how to control the clock. They know how to control the game. And so, I see them taking it.
Okay. Short and sweet. I love it. All right, so let's hit the Commanders. And we promise we won't get too emotional on this one, but let's hit the Commanders last. So do we have, I gotta start with this, y'all. Do we have a quarterback controversy in DC after the first preseason game?
I hope so, because I really like Sam Howell. And me and you were going back and forth about this, Professor. I like Sam Howell. I like his wheels. I like how he's able to manage. I mean, granted, it was against a fourth-string defense, whatever. But I like what I see from him. Carson Wentz, I'm just hearing too many bad things about him, how he's a cancer in the locker room, how he's not really a team leader. Like, I'm rooting for him. I want him to have a bounce back season, especially since he's now on, my squad to prove some people wrong. But, it's kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire. So you got to pay attention to that. But I mean, we all know Wentz is going to be the starter. I just hope, I don't hope he sucks bad enough for Howell to take over, but I would like to see Howe in action, but you know, realistically speaking, I know Wentz is going to be our quarterback week 1.
J3.
I don't have no comment because I'm done with that team. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I definitely feel that sentiment as well. I will say
too.
this: does Jack Del Rio survive this whole season? Because already there are chinks in that defense and I love Doc Walker, and I think we all do. He was pointing out those glaring examples of how do your starters still not look prepared in a preseason game? How do they still not look prepared? And Jack Del Rio is one that's vocal politically. He's on Twitter as well, voicing his opinions. And I really believe that the players in that locker room don't want to play for him. I believe that those players tune his voice out because they know what his political affiliations are, who he supports, and it doesn't line up with what I'll say. As African Americans, there are many of his views that wouldn't necessarily sit well with us. And what is a majority of his defense made up of? So I don't think he lasts the season. Matter of fact, I think Ron was close to firing him last time, but he levied a fine and a brief suspension. And I think if the performance doesn't come up to what he's being paid to do, I think by mid-season, that joker will be gone. And I think the defense will miraculously turn around and start playing. I think as that defense, the talent that it has on all 3 levels now, I think there's no excuse for any team to come in and move the ball on them. I think offensively, there are enough weapons there, especially if Gibson doesn't keep putting the ball on the ground. I think
they got to get out of their own way.
Yeah, they got to get out of their own way. And then I'm going to lean on it again. Play calling. Last year, I scratched my head so many times about the play calling from Mr. Turner as to why the ball wasn't going to Scary Terry more, why he wasn't using our 3-headed tight end monster. We have talent at tight end, and they didn't use it enough. So he needs to do that. He needs to make sure that our running backs are able to chip and block better for our quarterback. I don't need to see another quarterback running for his life. The offensive line, to me, has improved enough. I'm glad Sheriff is gone. More power to him down in Jacksonville. But to me, he was an Achilles heel on this team. And I think some guys with lesser names are now here and they're grinding. And I think they're going to do more to protect their quarterback this year.
Yeah, they got a point. They got a point to prove. And if history serves us correctly, Washington always seems to like squeeze in and make the playoffs, especially when they're least expected to. Like given those previous years with when it was Heineke and the defense pretty much carried us to win that division. It's highly possible. So I don't rule. And I know I'm with y'all. I'm done with that team because of on and off the field decisions. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did win in it, like the NFC East.
Yeah. The off the field stuff will continue into the season. That's pretty obvious. I'm hoping that it's not a distraction for the players, because if Ron doesn't have a winning season this year, then we're talking about him and his staff probably being blown out of here. And that's a real serious consideration. You know, like Ron, he's a genuine guy. He's brought structure to this team when it was kind of willy-nilly. But I think a lot of the off the field stuff with the owner that trickled down to the front office really affected the ability to bring in quality talent to this team. But it remains to be seen. So do you guys think that they'll actually compete for this division, or do you think the Eagles or Dallas or the Giants will run away with the division?
I see them competing. Even the Athletic sees Washington in the hunt for a playoff spot. They have too much talent, especially like on the offensive end. I don't care what Stephen A. Smith says. You have Scary Terry. You have this rookie in Dotson that's a speedster. You still have freaking De'Ami Brown, who's not a scrub. You even got Kelvin Harmon. Remember when Washington drafted Kelvin Harmon and all the hoopla that was made about him? Like I don't think he's a scrub. I still think he got some something left in the tank. So, and then with the tight ends, as I mentioned, and let's not forget, even though it was preseason, this kid Robinson, I like what I see from him. Definitely.
Yeah,
so,
I like that in college. Yeah, he's a pro.
Gibson better watch out.
Yeah, Gibson has been rumored on the trading block as well, because Washington, I think, jumped in some talks to get Roquan Smith from Chicago because he's pissed off, and we definitely need another linebacker here, especially one of his caliber. And you put him next to Jamin Davis and him developing. Oh man, we might have a core here that'll start scaring somebody, like for real.
Oh yeah, you know? Oh yeah.
Yep, roll tide. All right, fellas, we up against the hour, so let's close out with our quick and rapid fire post takes. I wanted to remind everybody that it is fantasy football season. The 4-letter network is doing their draft tonight. So if you've been paying attention, that's good. What I want to tell you is that we have slots open for those who want to join our post power play fantasy football league. I believe we have about 4 spots. So anybody out there that want to join us, just hit us up. We'll send you the link information to get started. I'm hoping that the fellas and I, and the ladies as well, will get our draft done this weekend, and we'll be ready to go in time for the season. So I'm going to give you guys 3 players that I'm watching this year in rapid fire. Of course, we just talked about him, Scary Terry McLaurin. I got Saquon Barkley coming back with a vengeance, and I just mentioned his name because we do play defense in our league. Roquan Smith will be a beast this year, whether he's in Chicago or on another team. You guys got a top 3?
I got Josh Allen, of course.
Yep.
I got I'll say I got Scary Terry as well. Okay. I think now that he got his money, he definitely going beast out. And I got I have Cooper Kupp. Kupp.
Okay. Those are solid. J3.
So for me, I got Kyler Murray coming out of the Cardinals. I think he gonna surprise a lot of people. Then I got Devontae Adams. I got Devontae Adams coming out of Oakland. I mean, not Oakland, Las Vegas. I think he's gonna be a great impact to that squad. I think Oakland is gonna be a team that's really gonna surprise a lot of people. And then my last pick again. I know y'all gonna laugh, but Baker Mayfield out of North Carolina. Watch what I tell you. He gonna make some noise. Watch what I tell you.
I hope so. I'm rooting for him.
All right, we're gonna see if you actually draft him though. That'll be putting your money where your mouth is. Yeah. See. All right, fellas, let's hit our final post, and we'll start where we stop. J3, take us out.
So I just want to say, man, right now, it's 2022. And I don't know if people are really paying attention to their health and to their bodies. Please, if you don't do nothing else, drink water at least twice, maybe 3 times a day to keep your body flushed. I can't emphasize it enough. Drink water.
Amen. True story. All right, Sense.
Now, what would a post podcast be if I didn't talk about the Lakers? So,
oh no,
I thought we was gonna get through.
So starting last night, as you know, Hulu has premiered their documentary on the Lakers dynasty. I have not checked it out yet, but I'm excited to. I urge you to do the same.
All right, and I'm gonna end on this note. A special thank you to my wife who supports this show, even when she's up against a lot of deadlines of her own. So I thank her for allowing me to spend time with all of you and definitely with the fellas. It is greatly appreciated. So I will make sure I complete my honey-do list and love on her a little bit more this evening and beyond. And lastly, shout out to Big Reg. We love you, brother. Get well soon. Anything you need, we're just a text or phone call away. Big Ed, shout out and love and prayers for you and your daughter. May she get well. Thank you for going down, Big Papa, and taking care of your daughter. And for the rest of you, continue to be safe out there. We thank you so much for your support and listening in. We appreciate your time for the opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Share this with everyone. Share, like it. Give us feedback. Let us know how we're doing. You can find us on the Twitterverse at Positions on SPO1. You can find us on Facebook, Positions on Sports Talk Show, as well as YouTube and Twitch. Same names, same back channel. We will come up. And don't forget that if you missed the show or you want to run it back for previous shows, we're on all the podcasting platforms. Go ahead and like and subscribe. You'll get notifications when we upload the new pods, and you can be able to listen and share with people that way as well. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart tonight. We ask that you just continue to be safe. Tell someone you love them. And please, please come back next week. God bless. Peace.
See ya. Oh my goodness. Oops.
Needless to say.